meters down on the lead of his race. 1:33.127 is Ulf Eriksson and Jose Deguez from Spain in fourth and fifth, sorry.
So once again, just to reconnect with our community following from every corner of the world, the live stream taking the Masters at the World Championships to our global audience via our YouTube page. And once again, to the people that are watching, welcome. It's good to have you here. Always welcome your comments. Always welcome your input. Always welcome your background on some of the characters that you will be seeing on screen at the moment. You've got a nice aerial shot here, so it's quite hard to pick out and identify what are effectively little ants on your screen, but it gives you a great perspective of this Lake Gels that we're racing at the moment with that Royal Oak Golf Course in the background, an absolutely beautiful marathon venue. Masters, men's K1, women's K1, and the C1 that are going to be occupying our attention for the next hour or so.
Finn Larson going across the front there, red shirt, red hat, white boat. Coached so many of Denmark's successful athletes. And in the canoes, just across the front of us now,
Peter Webster, one of the many Danes.
656 is struggling for names on the canoes. No.
And it's
I'm lost.
Seated in the C1.
I mean, discomfort is what springs to mind there. But you can. His commitment to canoe paddling there is exceptional. Yeah, that's. Personally, I would rather sit down than kneel up. And it is just a fact that furniture shops only sell things you sit on, not kneel on. And that's for a reason.
For good reason.
That's for a reason, that people love sitting down and very few choose to kneel up. But these guys do choose to kneel up. And although he's gone for a bit of a hybrid, sitting down in a kneeling up boat. Swapping sides, doing the old sit and switch.
Some magical overhead views of Lake Gels. Gels, the town in the background. Billund, the closest big city, which is where you fly into. Billund famous for other things, being Legoland.
Yeah.
If you know Lego, then you'll know Billund.
That seems to be the big tourist attraction of the area. Yet the whole place is still really quiet. You know, you're out of the airport, Dave, we were talking about it yesterday. It's quiet roads straight away, straight into the countryside. It feels like a country where you can really breathe. And it's such a pleasant environment to be in.
Peter Wellington coming past in boat 122, the white K1. Being followed by Norway's Olaf Mork. Bernhard Gerhardt from Germany in the black and yellow boat. Edwin de Smet from Belgium just ahead of him.
So that's the men's 70 to 74 category, currently being led by world champion already from last year in Portugal, Brian Greenham. Up with him, though, he's got Norwegian competition in the form of Olaf Soyland, and currently in bronze medal position in that 70 to 74 men's is Gilbert Spears, also from Great Britain.
Gordon Bullock from GB leading the next chasing bunch. Boat 144 with him is Sweden's Mattsson Goran. And one of the things you see from that aerial shot there, Ivan, is at the turn and at the little elbow in this course, the RTOs on the boats, they're going to be spending long days out there on the water in their boats, but performing a function without which we couldn't do this thing competitively.
And it's the same guys year in, year out. They commit to these things and they love it, and they turn up. And you know, it's not a bad day to be out on the boat today, Dave, but it could be raining, couldn't it? It could be windy. It could be awful. You don't know what you're getting till you get here. And without those people, these things don't happen. So I don't begrudge them at all, their hot tubs and their luxury accommodation and their fancy meals that we had last night with a coffee to finish. And yeah, the luxury we're afforded as officials is well deserved, Dave. I think we've earned it.
The ITOs are actually remarkable human beings. Very rarely does the paddler at the end of the day get a chance to intersect with an ITO and just give them a high five and say, thank you for what you did. They very seldom do it during the race for obvious reasons. But theirs is a pretty thankless job. You, as much as the paddlers are doing this for the love of the game, they're doing it because they seriously reinvest permanently. They invest more than they get out of this game, and really grateful for it. So while we do have a chance to give them a virtual high five for the job they do, take this one, all of you.
Yes, Jorgensen coming around the turn there. 1, 2, 3, boat number. That's the middle of those three athletes on screen. And just trying to pick up the men's 75 plus, which we could have coming round just now. It's quite hard. We're looking 188 and above. And yeah, we're looking at 188 himself and 193. I think this is 1 and 2 in the 75 pluses. So 193, Stina Mork from Norway, and 188, Carlden Thorburn from Sweden.
So once again, just for those watching the live stream, this is a mishmash of races. By now, all the groups are blurred. Some of them are racing 4 laps, some of them are racing 3 laps. So just understand that we'll look at some of the individuals and mention what they've done. And there will be a stage when all of a sudden we see a blur of action around the final turn cans, and we know that somebody's heading into the finish line, and we'll call that as best we can. But for most of that, it's an opportunity just to bask in what is good about marathon paddling. And I'm going to reopen the issue here, Ivan, because when you get into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and some of them are in their 90s here that are down at this event, you're doing it because you love it. The men do it just as much as the women do. Every club has got about, and in fact, we were sitting at breakfast this morning chatting about a woman who, in her 70s, is racking up thousands of kilometers a year on the water.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely staggering. And I mean, people like that deserve to be heaved onto a special podium and given a special gold medal for that sort of dedication to the game. It would be really good to encourage the women to get out and use this opportunity to build the community that the men enjoy.
Absolutely. I think in sport, we're all guilty of associating success with winning and success with medals. And I think that's quite a distortion of the truth. There are so many degrees and different forms of success. And yeah, if you're 70 odd and you're doing 5,000 to 7,000 kilometers a year, that's a success. That's a life success. It's way more than winning a race here or there. And just to be out there, that's the lead group in women on screen now. Not sure. Oh, they're directly opposite us on the course as well. So we'll give you name checks on those when they come around. But yeah, I think what the Masters Racing shows you is that actually success lasts way beyond the point at which you're winning and losing the high-profile competitions. And success goes on wherever you are in your career. Success is available to you, and that might be personal. It might be... Oh, hang on, we've got a bit of a change at the front of... Ina Rasmussen is no longer with... I think we must have had a swim or something. Because Ina Rasmussen is no longer with Cravioto of Spain, who's out clear on his own, coming around the bottom turn right now. Rasmussen nowhere in sight. So something's clearly happened. Obviously, from commentary, we let you down there. We didn't have visuals when we needed them. And Cravioto is away and clear. And I think he might be going up for his final small lap now. I've lost count of laps. This is what we need Jim Rossiter for, Dave. Jim Rossiter was awesome at counting laps. He had a system with a bit of paper. He had a ruler. Not sure what the ruler did, but he had a ruler, a paper, and numbers. And Yep, away goes Craviotto.
Looking strong, looking super strong.
You just don't know many paddlers who paddle that fast, let alone paddlers over 65 who paddle that fast. And I'm trying to get some sort of idea of whether Rasmussen is still...
Well, Rasmussen is right off the back, but Craviotto is not. In fact, sometimes when that happens, it just gives you that extra adrenaline rush, and you just want to make that advantage stick. He doesn't need to, but he's certainly found that extra gear for what we think is the last long lap.
I'm thinking Rasmussen just over there in the blue and yellow boat, which when I say just over there, sort of coming up toward what would be the finish line on the next lap. So,
but to give that context, that's 400 meters.
And the rest. It's there he is in shot now. Rasmussen on his own. Something obviously happened because last time we saw them, they were together. Rasmussen looked reasonably comfortable with Craviotto, and now, there's a man who's won pretty much everything you need to win, and he's still prepared to put in the hard yards.
This is what makes the Masters such a remarkable event. That is a huge chunk of paddling history wrapped up in one shot.
It's not just paddling history in terms of results and stuff. That's the man who reinvented the paddle as we know it today. He's the man who turned from there was a wing paddle invented by a Swede. Forgive me out there if I've got my details wrong, but the original wing paddle was invented by a Swede, and then Rasmussen refined it to essentially what we're using today. And absolutely mad as a badger, the man. He'll talk you to death if ever you get caught in a conversation with him. Nothing he loves more than paddling. The only thing is talking. And he's got so much.
And he's looking over his shoulder. He's a country mile ahead of the next boat, certainly. But
how did that gap open up?
Yeah,
so much?
There's a story to be told. We'll have to run them down when they get across the finish.
He loves talking. We're going to bring Ina into the commentary later today.
We can head off for a long stretch and give him the mic.
Give him the mic. Yeah. He'll be fine. So we'll get a bit of history on whatever happened in that race.
Don't mind being overtaken by somebody like that.
There he is, giving out the universal instruction to move over to the right a bit, please. I'm coming through on your inside.
Don't squeeze me at the buoy, you just have.
And through he goes across the front of us. And the chase group, which he was looking over his shoulder for, is about 75 to 100 meters behind him. It's the group with Colin Simpkins. It's the group with Visser of South Africa. We'll give you another couple of names in a second as soon as I can get my computer fired up again.
Colin Simpkins putting in a burn for the fans. Does love to hear a whoop in his name in the background.
Dave Bergland. There's nothing Colin Simpkins likes to hear more than his own name. And that's what I love about Colin. His own name and his own voice. They're the two things that Colin never tires of. Rasmussen going up on his own on screen there. He's just got to hold off that chase group for, I think, one more lap. I'm just trying to see. No, Craviotto hasn't gone round the small turn, so it's one more big lap to go. That's going to be a long old journey for Rasmussen now on his own with that chase group.
Pia Jorgensen in the women's race going past the front of us at the moment in the Danish colours.
On screen, 29, Tomilov leads a group of 3 coming down to the bottom turn. 25 and 26 with him. That's Mumel from Norway and Borup from Denmark. I think I really let you down on my Norwegian pronunciation there, but you know what? That's my best shot, Dave.
Thompson of Denmark paddling in one of the sea kayak design boats, one of a couple that are actually on the water here today.
I think that, it's great to have them out here, but I can see why there aren't many of those in the portaging age groups. You wouldn't want to be hauling a sea kayak over land.
Anne Green of Australia, enjoying a pretty solitary race, the only entrant in the women's 70 to 74. In terms of the rules for the competition, I mean, to qualify as a world championship event, you know, given the hurdles and the bottlenecks with getting here, motivating people to you know, stump up the money and put in the training to come to the world champs, you technically should have 6 nations to form a class.
I'm not really sure if the same rules apply to the mainstream world championships and the Masters World Championships. I know, you know, that they don't like to make it a world championships and have a podium presentation if the podium's not going to be full. But in the world championships, the elite world championships, what do we call it, Dave? We maybe need some advice here. I'll call it the elite world championships as opposed to the Masters World Championships. I know you have to have a minimum number of countries. So I think that's 6.
I must admit the marathon committee has taken a laudable, broad-minded and tolerant approach to the rules because, and again, Anne is a great example in case. I mean, if she is going to make the trip up from Australia and be the only woman racing in the 70 to 74, hell yes, put her on a podium.
Absolutely,
I
because that deserves a medal in itself. And they're very pragmatic, you know, committee generally. You know, there's mixed nations. I'm going to race in a mixed nation boat sometime tomorrow, and yeah, that's great because a lot of this Masters racing, and it's true of my competition. We've got good friends from their past, good friends from your history, and to sit in a boat with them is a bit of a privilege sometimes. And the marathon committee have decided that that's okay, and you know, hats off to them for that. So Brian Greenham coming through, still with company from Norway.
A few moments ago, you saw Chris Helliar in his seaboat from Canada, part of the Canadian contingent that's coming out here. Is a real sort of re-injection of enthusiasm for marathon racing in Canada. Centered around a sort of core bunch of athletes that have been involved with marathon over the years, but it's suddenly spread around the country. And
but also from Canada, you just had the Sprint World Championships, and in the 5Ks, you got a medal from Canada in the women's 5K, and I think 4th place in the men's, and that's kind of, I think that, to me, that's a surprise. They're up there with some of the top-end marathon paddlers in the world, and they've obviously got a bit of a culture there that we haven't really seen in marathon. We haven't seen good teams from Canada here in the past. So that's a nation that's bubbling under, you know, ready to come into this scene.
And some real characters that are part of the Masters Marathon scene there. We'll take time to chat about them over the next day or two. Canada scooping all the qualifications for Paris as well in Duisburg. So very excited about what they've managed to pull out of the hat there. It's that time of year, I'm afraid. Everybody is just so
Olympic focused. And in a way, that's quite sad because some of the good performances at the Sprint World Championships are overshadowed by the qualifications. Yep. And across the front of us now, Pete Gorman, yellow shirt, just holding off 1:27. 37 also there, Fernando Ruiz from Spain in the pink boat, 46.
Nicolas van Riemsdijk from the Netherlands also in that bunch.
And 52, we've got the Romanian, Ignatencu.
It's crazy season for canoeing if you consider what's... we have a
retirement. That
looks like a
be good if someone's
steering
got their
technical
eye
actually.
on 127 there. Maybe not looking too cheerful.
That's Ulf Eriksson from Sweden. He's carrying on.
He is carrying on. That looks a bit nervy for a minute there. He's back up and running though. Eriksson from Sweden, back in the game.
Little bit of T-bar admin in the middle of the lake. That's good work. Toft Hansen from Denmark in boat 132 going in front of us in the luminous green cap.
On screen, the Spaniard in that pink boat, just overtaking Pete Gorman.
So what you're seeing on screen, top and bottom, are the athletes heading on to either their penultimate or in some cases the ultimate lap. So in the next couple of minutes, get yourself a cup of coffee because there should be a flurry of action as they come down to that final turn. And then be the first athletes to crest the tape on the finish line.
And the first one of those is going to be Craviotto from Spain, barring accidents. .139, 149 across in front of us now. It's Lars Ekberg and Bernard Fischer.
And once again, just to those of you that have joined us, sometimes time makes it a bit unfriendly wherever you are in the world to be joining us, but really excited to be able to be bringing you live streaming coverage of the Masters competing for the world titles. There's been a regular howl every year to try and include the Masters and the para events in the live stream, and we've done it this year, which is kudos to the Danish Canoe Federation, who have really not skimped at all to make sure that everybody gets their moment in the sun. Feel free to keep your comments coming, whether you want to do that on the social media channels or whatever method. We will do our level best to get to those comments and offer an opinion, offer some information if it's relevant.
We will get better at communicating all those comments coming in. We haven't actually lined them up yet. I certainly haven't on my screen. But keep your information and your comments coming in. If you've got information on particular paddlers, if we see it, we'll read it, and any background, especially on the Masters. So coming across the front of us now, 3 yellow hats. 122 is Peder Valentin from Sweden. 124, Erwin de Smet from Belgium. And 16 is going to be in a different class. He is Jan Horn from Norway.
Olaf Mork in 131 in the black cap. In the center of your screen at the moment.
And we've got a little quiet patch in front of us. I'm just looking up the course to see if we can see Craviotto coming back, but not yet.
The Danes have been fantastic hosts. They've really, particularly in a town like Jels and this Virgin municipality, they've leapt at this opportunity and been such good. As we were walking down to the course this morning,
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's one of the local schools or community organizations, but they have lined the pathway between the Royal Oak Golf Course and this lake, the competition venue, with rocks painted with all sorts of greetings and encouragement slogans, and it's very cool. It makes a difference, and it's noted and appreciated.
So just coming across the finish line, Gordon Bullock leads a group of 4. It's Gordon Bullock from Great Britain. 144 is going to be, Goran from Sweden, just about to overtake Gordon Bullock. Everything to play for in that race still. There's the 4 of them on screen.
Fourth boat there is Bernhard Gerhardt from Germany in boat number 128.
He's just off the back
Just
of the
off
other
the back,
3.
not getting the benefit of that wave. He's on a second wave, I guess.
Gordon Bullock obviously taking quality instruction back in England from Chris Z, who is putting in the hours, doing the teaching. No one puts out a GoPro bit of footage like Chris. He's all over it.
Good shot there, Ivan. There's the takeout that's going to be Portage Central.
And
Just a great aerial view of that. And I know it doesn't involve the Masters here, but we can open that conversation because this is a unique portage because it's a jetty takeout. And maybe we can see from this aerial shot, it's a real panorama shot. It's beautiful. But on your right, if you have a look, there's that distinctive jetty, and that's the put-in. It's a beach put-in on the right-hand side. So that's going to be central to the racing later in the week, and it's going to be super interesting.
Absolutely it will. But opposite us now, in the red boat, yellow shirt, or yellowish shirt, Craviotto from Spain, round the bottom turn. This has to be for the last time, I'm sure, round the bottom turn. We've seen him plenty of times now. They've got to be getting close to the end of this race. And round he comes, round the outside of the C1. So he's just about on screen to come into view. Top of your screen any second now.
Rounding the last of the turn cans.
So in that red boat, fastest paddler of the
session. Top of the screen, that's the man we should be looking at. Fantastic. Gee, he really has, you're looking for a defining performance to start off this competition week. This is it.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
It is unbelievably impressive. Stroke rate high, wideish catch. Look at that.
I just admire the amount of energy going in there, the speed of that boat. That is just, I know, amazing. That's just amazing.
I wish we had a tracker with a timing device to give us a real-time running speed on the boat there.
You're looking at 12K an hour there comfortably.
I was going to stick my neck out and say, when we get there, we're close.
We're close in age, not in speed, Dave. Let's get the details correct there. We're closing in on the age, but the speed is going the other way. So he is way ahead now. There was that chase group. Well, Rasmussen's on his own, or was on his own on the last lap, being chased down by a group of 4. That group of 4 and Rasmussen aren't even in. Well, Rasmussen is in sight, not on your screen, but he's in sight for us. But he's going to be 750,000 meters behind now. So Craviotto on his own, on screen, hooning his way up. I think this is the small turn for him now. Small turn and back to the finish. Very prepared to be wrong on that as well, Dave. But
what it does do, there's some really great prose that's been written about the loneliness of the long-distance paddler. When you're that good, you're going to be on your own all the time. You've trained, you know what pace you like to race at. You've set yourself a race plan.
Look at this on screen, though, Dave. That's Rasmussen in the blue and yellow. He was with Craviotto for the first 2 laps. And now only just behind him, just out of shot, was the South African Visser. And it's going to get a bit tight for Rasmussen. They're on his tail, Simpkins and Visser together. There's a group of 4 chasing Rasmussen down, and round that top small turn goes Craviotto. He's got about 500 meters left. The chase group have got just over 1,000 meters left, and they're only 4 lengths behind Rasmussen now, and Rasmussen is going to be caught by the Africans.
Chris Visser, Colin Simpkins, I can hear the howling and the baying and the bar tops being beaten.
You know what, though? If Simpkins does get a medal here, you know who's got to live with that for the rest of eternity? That's all of us, Dave. That's all of us. We've all got to put up with this if he gets a medal.
It's very simple. I just remind him of his golf swing and he goes quiet.
Okay. So. You've got something on him. I'm just hoping...
He's a shanker as much as he waddles like a Sherpa with the boat.
I'm just hoping Rasmussen's got something left to just pull out a last 1,000 meters here.
Well, he better have a master plan because he's been reeled in properly. This race for silver is hot.
But yeah, there's 4 boats there. The one behind them, I think he's in it as well, in the blue boat. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to get a number on him. Yep, boat 20. He's in the same game. So there's 5 of them up for those 2 remaining medals. So we've got David Berglund in the blue boat, just off the back of that group. You've got Simpkins in the white hat. You've got Visser in the black hat. You've got Rasmussen. He's going to be, yep, he's giving out some instructions.
He's verbally taking command of the situation.
You can never stop Rasmussen talking, even when the chips are down. And then on the outside of that group is boat 56, who I haven't got on my list, unfortunately, so I can't, but he's from Denmark, and he's going well also. So this is it.
And there's Simpkins trying to go on the left of Rasmussen.
Simpkins giving it the big one. Rasmussen holds him off on the right-hand side of the group from Denmark, coming up on the outside of Visser. Rasmussen has made, he's going to hold them. He's going to at least try and hold these guys off. He knows he had them on the sprint at the start, but that is a group of 5, and that is a motivate. Can you imagine the ego and the middle-aged angst in a group like that? That is stress, man.
That was a little puffing out of the chest from Colin Simpkins, and it didn't work because Rasmussen put him in his place properly.
We've got the winner coming back. He's just passed them on his way back to the finish line with about 50 metres to go. This is your winner, Cravioto from Spain. Absolutely unbelievable. He has absolutely made mincemeat of the rest of them. But it's game on for second and third.
What an unbelievable performance. And the medal account is open for Spain. Job well done.
Amazingly done. I mean, you have to admire that. There's no other word. That is an admirable performance from Cravioto of Spain. World champion last year, world champion this year. He's got this age group nailed.
But we're back with a 5-boat race for silver and bronze.
Look at it. This is for real, man.
And they're busy gobbling up onto the back markers here, which might just get interesting.
It's the Australian on the outside. Simpkins to his right. He's held off the Australian. Rasmussen holds off Simpkins, and it is most definitely game on. This is awesome. So sorry if we're ignoring the other races just now, but this is too exciting to leave. On the outside from Denmark, who I can't give you a name check for. I apologise sincerely for that. He's not on my list, but Rasmussen holds the lead for now.
Has Rasmussen got enough gas in the tank? Because he was certainly looking tired coming into the bottom turn.
He is a talented, gifted, intelligent racer, Dave. And intelligence plays a lot at this point. He knows he only has to hold off when they attack. He's not going full on. Here comes Simpkins again. Again comes Simpkins.
And Rasmussen makes it tight at the turn.
Tight, but not too tight. But he holds Simpkins off again. It's very hard to see anyone getting that half a length on Rasmussen. Although Simpkins has got the inside there. Australian just squeezed out. He was right up there a moment ago.
Been squeezed out as well. Colin Simpkins is well poised.
Oh, this is exciting stuff.
Interesting backstory. Colin's been struggling with a little bit of his lungs, and jeepers, you're in lung deprivation zone, oxygen deprivation zone now. So let's hope he's in good nick, because he's got a minute or two to try and play a big card. And if he can pull one over Rasmussen and get silver,
we'll never hear the last of it.
Yeah, just get earplugs now, people.
Crowd, we need the crowd to get behind Rasmussen here. We really do. Whether you're Norwegian or not, the stakes are high.
Roundabout now, there'll be somebody with a vuvuzela who's going to start making that pro-South African bleat.
We've been there before, and we're back in the game. Rasmussen leads from the 2 South Africans. Simpkins on his left, Visser on his right.
And this is a bit cagey, I got to say. Everybody is kind of working out when to drop the hammer, when to fire the afterburner.
I think we've got a winner of the women's coming across the line. We've absolutely failed you there. That's from Sweden, boat 278. That is Lindback from Sweden.
Eva Lindback, congratulations.
Followed by 272, Henkel from Denmark. Sorry, we were commentating from the screen, not from the visual, so we apologise to the fans live on site.
Sweden and Denmark grabbing medals. Job well done. Congratulations. Now, let's get back to the race of, there are 4 of the minutes.
Game on, Berglund's done. He's out the back. It's still 4 in it. Rasmussen holds that lead. Visser to his right. Simpkins to his left. On the outside, the unknown Dane. Well, unknown to us at least. Probably known to everyone else in the stand. So, apologies. It's only 100 metres to go. Rasmussen still holds it. 3rd place female across the line. 274. Here comes Rasmussen.
Simpkins on the left is trying something, but
Oh, Visser's got something to say at the last minute. It's
This could be
Visser
needle.
just holding off
Simpkins goes on
Simpkins.
the left, Visser goes on the right. Rasmussen has got just enough.
Oh, it's going to be tighter than we thought. Rasmussen
has got
from
a meter from
who?
Visser and Simpkins.
From who?
And I've got to say, oh my
That
word.
is some race. Congratulations,
Great racing.
guys.
Oh, magical
That
racing.
lifted the crowd. Absolutely phenomenal.
What we're saying, of course, is provisional. We're looking at an angle over the finish line. So
Provisional be damned, Dave.
we give Rasmussen silver, we give Visser bronze, and it looks like Colin Simpkins is going to get the plastic.
I presumably we have photo finish on for the Masters, but that's going to be super tight to call. So we missed Berglund coming across. He was in 5th. And across the line now,
Boat number 30.
from Germany, that's Norbert Pieperbeck. Great race from him.
You know, in addition, I mean, we talked about the Danes rolling out such a good show here and laying on the live stream for the Masters and the parapaddlers, which is going to be, I'm really excited to be part of, to be honest. But what we do have is we have officials that are now capable to look at replays, either on YouTube or live from the production team, and on demand request a camera angle. If there is something that goes down at one of the turns, Brian, who's now sitting in that official chief, I can send you to the naughty chair position, can actually call on TV video footage, just like you would for a football match, and that's a big step forward.
Next across the line, 21 and 52.
Maximilio Lamedo of Spain.
Oh, it's 50, not 52. And
50 is Gunnar Ramoe of Norway. Congratulations, gents. Immediate little stretch over for a handshake at the end of a race. It's one of those ethos issues that you need to, they almost set the tone for the rest of the week. That's the way this game is going to be played. It's going to be played really hard, but it's going to be played really fair.
Bossina from Austria coming across the line now in the red hat, white boat. Great race from him. Just a couple of minutes down on the leaders. And we were treated, there's a bit of confusion here as people still coming around the bottom turn. Can the paddlers who finished stay away from the bottom turn? Let the people who haven't finished just come through. It's just getting a little congested.
Raimund Buick of Germany in boat 195 in the group coming across your screen at the moment. And it really is a case of look left, look right, look left again, quickly cross before you,
a little bit
you get
chaotic
T-boned.
down here. And we're looking now for the leaders in the next class, which is the men's 70 to 74. We're looking essentially for Brian Greenham out there somewhere. Next across the line, it's the women.
Another one of the Danes, Finn Larsen, on the screen just a moment ago. As you always do, the host nation is going to make up the bulk of the field in these Masters World Championship races. But
Jorgensen and Parry coming across the line there in the women's. And it's Brian Greenham, world champion yet again in the 70 to 74s.
Strong finish.
He's broken the Norwegian at last. 136 Soyland, just a few lengths behind him.
Greenham claims medal number. It's a big number.
Couldn't tell you, but I can tell you that Soyland used to be K2 partner and was world champion with Rasmussen back in the day. Super quality paddler. Held on most of the way. Across the line, 25. It's in the over 65s. That's Mermel from Norway.
And right at the jetty, you could see The solitary C1 in the men's 60 to 64, Yuri Lukovenko of Ukraine.
We've also got a swimming C1 just coming in.
Is that a finisher or is that a
No, I
swimmer?
think that's a swimmer. Just at the pontoon there. It's going to be a tough get out
There's
for
just
him.
a little breeze picking up here across Lake Gilles.
Luckily, his boat's been trapped in the
It's been washed into a little
lagoon in the pontoon. So more across the line as we speak. We've got C1 coming through now. And we've got Gilbert Spears going head-to-head with the Spaniard. That's going to be another tight finish. It looks like Spears from the Spaniard, who was balked at the last minute by the C1. The C1 is 293, I think. Or was it 295?
Lukovenko is heading up course at the moment.
German C1. So that's Pieper Beck of Germany across the line of the C1. They're coming through too quick for us to name check everyone at the moment. But finishing thick and fast now. We haven't got the technology to give you everything. Brian Greenham just paddling across the front of us there. Another win for him.
Dagmar Brezinova of the Czech Republic in boat 271 crossing the line. The women's 65 to 69.
Derek Marshall in the yellow hat. He crossed the line just in front of the Czech. And now coming down 297 in the C1s is Blažević of Latvia. Yellow C1, blue top. So second place, I think, in the C1s.
Blažević crosses the line. Mission accomplished for day one. Timing is good. There's just a bit of a breeze picking up across Lake Gilles now.
There's boats everywhere. The C1's back in his boat. He's trying to get out, but there's people in the way stopping him getting out of from the pontoon.
Peter Wallenden in boat 122.
Olaf Mork from Norway heading up for his final last short lap. While 28 comes down towards the finish. That is Van der Hoek from Netherlands.
Finishing just behind Johan Heffermil of Norway.
Big finish
now.
now.
Here we've got a dice cut. Look at the burn on the right here in the yellow shirt.
Pete Gorman, he's still got it, the old fella.
What a turn of speed when you need it most.
He's still got it. Look at that. He comes past 37. 37, Fernando Ruiz, absolutely butchered by Pete Gorman on the line there.
36 is Van Riemsdijk from the Netherlands.
Too many numbers to call.
Coming across the line thick and fast.
I'll leave you with the 30s to 36s, and that I'll call the 120s up to the 140s. Oh, we now got a 2 in there as well. And the ladies from Australia, it's our 74.
It's Kenneth Fraser from Team GB in boat 46 crossing the line.
So Anne Green across the line in the women's 70-74.
And that aerial shot gives you a very good perspective of just what's going on at the moment. And it looks a bit like pickup sticks.
Well, I think we're going to need a bit more of a flow pattern asserted by management after this one. Across the line, 143. Great job from... No, that's not... I'm reading that number wrong, I think.
148, I think.
I'm torn between my reading glasses and my long vision glasses, Dave, and this is an old people's problem.
Helga Freund from Germany.
Bernhard Gerhard still going up for his final last turn. And it was 148, and that was Torben Durup from Denmark.
Finish for Niels Olstrup from Denmark in the 65 to 69 race. what's interesting about these Masters events is if you look over your shoulder into the stands, there are a bunch of the elite athletes that are sitting there. And this is payback time because they know that come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Masters are all going to be there whooping and cheering.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be running seconding duty in the portage zones.
Absolutely.
But this is where the team vibe comes into it. And the fact that you've got your elite world champion sitting in the top row of the stands whooping your name on the Monday of competition is a great message.
So the lake's gradually beginning to thin out now. Things are getting a little more relaxed out there.
Another one of the sea boats coming home.
Not sure if he's coming home or got another half a lap to go.
He
Should be finishing between the boys, I'm thinking.
Yeah, he might have a...
We've got a race 138 and 140. That's Muller and Bolland. Terry Bolland coming round 138. Everything to play for. This is neck and neck. It's tight for this finish. Australia versus Denmark. It's Australia just inching ahead now. It doesn't look like it on your screen, but from here you can see the overhead shot. Australia just overhauling Denmark. Big finish there. Every position counts.
And that's Terry Bolland we spoke about a little bit earlier, the Australian who, as I said, the champ from Ascot who's managed to balance his chemo sessions with his training sessions. And look at that finish. That burn of speed on the outside doesn't speak of a man who's been sitting in front of medical machinery whirring and churning at you. That is a celebration of everything that's good about the game. Terry, go your good thing. Give you a complimentary Aussie, 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 knowing that somewhere in the world people are going to be oi-ing me back.
Peter Valentin now trying to hold off the charge from Erwin de Smet. It looks like Valentin all the way on this one. Belgian not quite got the legs to overtake at the finish. So Sweden from Belgium. Two more coming in at speed. 137 is Gottfried from Austria. And just on his tail, I'll get a number check for you.
131
is Mork from Norway. And the wind is beginning to pick up quite considerably now. We've got quite a breeze on the lake now. Coming across from the far side, so left to right as you start. Wind coming across the lake is not ideal for the canoe paddlers.
Yeah, we did get a kind of a heads up from the locals chatting about the weather forecast for the week, where they kind of said, this is Jutland in August, going into autumn, so you are likely to get the odd flurry of rain, a little bit of an afternoon storm, and maybe a bit of wind to go with it, but it's nothing drastic on the radar all the way through till close of business on Sunday.
Across the line there, Peter Vester from Denmark. Gordon Bullock just beaten on the line by 144, which is Goran from Sweden.
Gordon's done for the day, I think. Dropped anchor the minute he crossed the line.
If 18 is finishing, or
that might have been a warm downer.
Not finishing. It's anyway, boat 18 was Johan Heffermel from Norway. I think he was finishing. .298, our swimmer. Tough break for him. That was Chris Helyar from Canada, and he's followed in
18 and 142.
Oh, I thought we just called 18. I thought 18 was the guy, Chris Heffermel. Johan Heffermel, rather.
Make that 16.
16. Jan Horn from Norway, and 142 would be Jorn Lundberg from Denmark.
337.
In the women's race, 337, crossing the line now. Just, I can't find 337 on my list. I'm failing you. And 128 is Bernhard Gerhard from Germany. 193. Steinar Mork from Norway, and just behind him, 188 is Carlden Thorburn from Sweden.
On that aerial shot, you can see on the stream feed context, is still paddlers heading up on that last lap. You saw it right from the get-go. I mean, the difference in pace, there's a whole bunch of different agendas.
Leif Christensen in shot there, being chased down by Kurt Hansen. Kurt just trying to stay on the tail. They've still got their small lap to go. That's the aerial of those two. They've got one bottom turn and the small lap still left to go. That's in the over 75 men's.
The great things about these Masters races, Ivan, is that it's a first opportunity to test everything about this racing setup before we get to the hectic business Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
And there'll be small glitches around, whether it's in terms of the TV stuff that we're dealing with, or the course mapping, or just the processing of paddlers on and off the water. There's always stuff to improve on.
And returning to the fact that a lot of the elites are sitting in the stands watching the racing, it's a chance to just teach people routines, little things, where the turn buoys are. Are you allowed to go around the finish turn buoys as you come out of the turn cans? Little things like that get learnt during the Masters racing, and by the time it gets to the seniors, juniors, and under 23s, it's not an issue.
So as 191 and 204, that's Christensen and Hansen go around the turn. Across the finish line came somebody whose number I can't see. Apologies for that. One, 2, 6. Yeah, Daniel Laporte. Oh, good save, Daniel Laporte. That was a close call, man. But you brought it back.
191 and 204.
The big race still on.
Leif Christensen in 191 in the center of that screenshot.
Kurt Hansen hunting him down.
And we've just raised the stakes on this one now by highlighting it.
Yep. 191.
And he's taking off. He's having none of it.
Christensen trying to pull away.
Get the hence.
From Hansen. Hansen having none of it. He's going to track him till the final meters. Across the line now. 17 and 145.
Axel Hansen of Denmark coming.
And John Hald from Denmark in boat 17. 135 there.
Top turn can on the live stream feed. Just
Egbert Gadda.
And an unbelievable chance to sort of zoom back and just have a look at the context of where this Lake Gels is.
John Jorgensen in shot on screen. Jorgensen on his own with about 30 meters to go to his finish.
Oh, and he's going to put on a bit of a sprint, I think, because he knows he's basking in the limelight. This is his moment. Finishing strong. Good day at the office.
Go on, John. Across the line. Jorgensen crosses the line in the men's 70 to 74 category. He's not happy. He's not stopping. 189 coming across now. I'll give you a call on that as soon as my computer lets me. Torben Hansen across the line. And next to come is Knut Kjelgaard of Denmark. 192. Olaf Moberg, also from Denmark. And 150 is from Spain, Antonio Cruzado.
Kjelgaard from Denmark, looking satisfied with another Danish result. And of course, everybody accumulating.
Is he going? Is he finished? Not finished. About 40 coming across the front of us. Bryn Price from Great Britain. I'm thinking he might have his small lap to go.
And there's Mark Moons crossing the
Maybe
line.
not.
One of the icons of the game when it comes to the Masters World Championships. Belgian. He's been a fixture in Masters racing literally from the inception of this Masters World Championships. Jumped into the K2 with a bunch of partners, often from other countries, but he really has been a stalwart. If you're going to single out characters that deserve a little bit of a pat on the back and a bit of icon status, then Mark Moons of Belgium is one of them. Yeah. 202.
Yeah, we would like them to keep clear of that.
So wrapping up the races in the 65 plus K1 and C1 men's and women's races. Fitting way to start of competition on day one of marathon racing here at Lake Gels. I know there'll be clubmates that'll be on the WhatsApps and the messengers sending virtual high fives from wherever they are in the world to the paddlers that have finished, particularly those that have got medals. It's always a good way for your nation's bid for glory at the World Champs to be started off with a Masters medal on day one. Yep.
So Ruud van der Doe coming across the line now from the Netherlands, boat 194. Milking the applause, taking all the adulation that the crowd can offer. And that big race was unfolding earlier with Kurt Hansen from Denmark still tracking. Leif Christensen, I think it was. Here they are, Leif Christensen in the red boat, still being hunted like a dog by Kurt Hansen.
Oh, he's looking over his shoulders.
This is game on.
He does not want this to end badly.
Kurt Hansen looking every bit like he's got a big finish in him there. Time's running out for the fella, though.
He's looking for that little overdrive gear.
Come on, Kurt Hansen. You've still got this, man.
He's got to come off the tail wave if he's going to make it work.
Oh, Leif turning the screws. Just an extra few pounds of pressure from Leif there. And he's holding him off to the finish. Everything to play for. Despite his valiant effort, Kurt Hansen has to settle for finishing just behind Leif. There's going to be talk in the bars earlier, or later rather, about that one. Controversial all the way.
And you can see that the chat has already started. It's a well-meant appreciation and a bit of gratitude for a good contest out in the water.
You know what's being said there? Leaf saying to him, I didn't even know you were there, mate. I didn't see you there to the finish. You lose the ability to look back over your shoulder around the age of 56. I can vouch for that. You have no idea anymore what's happening behind you because you know that if you look behind, you're going to fall out. What's happening on the far side? They can't be still going.
No, they must be warming up. Yeah. So race is due to start at 11 o'clock. The next flotilla of Masters paddlers getting ready to warm up. So some of them are on the water already. Probably about probably less than 10 boats still to be accounted for on the course at the moment.
Okay. Can we talk a few minutes about ceremonies? Sure. I know you're busy all the time.
Axel Hansen in that beautiful wooden straw crossing the line. Job well done. Well done, Axel. Beautiful looking craft that they really are. It's work of art.
Thank you. He's really terrible. He's terrible at it. I get presentation Tourette's. It's a strange.
We put it down on paper for you and scratch what you don't have to do.
Boat 200 coming to cross the line at the end of a good race. Robert Scully, well done.
Sounds good. Yeah. What time do you want to do? At 11:20. 20. As soon as we got all the races off before we have too many finishes. Okay. Yeah. For the first 1 to 7, and yeah, for the morning's races.
Yeah. So it's a block of ceremonies.
Are we putting the medal ceremonies on the stream?
Yeah.
Are we interrupting the racing floor?
Is this on YouTube now?
I'm thinking about the audio for the stream.
We're on YouTube yet?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh,
yeah,
that's all right.
okay.
We've been talking as if we were.
Yeah. We got online after 20 minutes.
So accounting for the last few paddlers in the Master 65 Plus racing, while the warm-up begins for the younger masters who are just about to get onto the water. K1 racing on day 1 Monday, K2 racing the focus for Tuesday, day 2 of the Masters World Championships. Once again, thank you for the comments and suggestions. We'll do our level best to get through those and try and get ourselves into a position where we can actually respond real time to those comments as they come through. All appreciated. And once again, excited to see such positive response from the athletes that have appreciated the live streaming coverage of the Masters Day 1 at the Marathon Worlds. Hasn't happened in the past. It was a priority for the Danes in the organizing, and they've got the whole show ready to go from race 1 on Monday to make sure that we can bring you the Masters live stream.
Coming towards the line, Bryn Price from Great Britain. Just a little struggle just to make those last few yards. 2 to go, Bryn. 2 to go, man.
That tank is empty.
And he's done. Just behind him, the C1.
We're just going to show the medal part and then go away from the races for those first Yeah, 15 minutes where the races are starting, and then
It
do the
starts
middle.
off, then ceremonies, and then back to races.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Some might want to see the medals as
And
well.
you're doing a great job. I love what you're doing up here. It's amazing.
Where will we do it from here or down at the commentating for the ceremonies?
Yeah.
I think we'll do it from here. You can see
See the screen.
You can see
Oh, we can see
everything.
Oh,
over
we can see
here.
here, can't we?
and we'll communicate on radio with Andreas. Will come up here and run the music. And he did rehearsal yesterday, so he's well experienced.
If you go in right in there on your right.
And I'll come find you
Or
later
right
for
down there
quotations.
in the vans that are right down there.
279 finishing up at the end of the K1 race. Lisa Newton of Team Oz. So we'll leave you with visuals of deceptive visuals, because the athletes you can see on your screen at the moment are warming up for the racing that's going to be starting at 11 o'clock. $11 o'clock local time. K1 men 35 to 39, and then all the other age groups for the C1s and the women. Wide visuals of Lake Gels, adding its name to the list of remarkable marathon venues that have been established in the law of world marathon racing by hosting the World Marathon Champs. The Danish Canoe Federation having pulled out all the stops to make sure that this one is memorable. In the background, there's the golf course at Royal Oaks, which forms this lush green backdrop. Top Golf Course apparently hosted the national championships on a fairly regular basis. And there's the town of Gels in the background. Just oozing charm. Locals loving the opportunity of hosting paddlers from every corner of the world to come and enjoy what is a very special corner of the Jutland here in the west of Denmark. And you can sense that there is now a renewed buzz of interest, because the younger masters paddlers are now on the water warming up. And we'll get that start underway in about 10 or 15 minutes' time. So we'll leave you with these images of the last few of the older masters paddlers coming across the line, and the warm-up session for the masters, which will be starting at about 12. So, welcome back if you are joining us on the live stream on the YouTube page. Just about to get the second flurry of races underway. Once again, big up to the Danish Canoe Federation for arranging our live stream to be up and running to be able to bring you all the action from the Masters Cup. My name's Dave McLeod. I'm joined at the commentary point by Ivan Lawler as we prepare to take in what I think is going to be a highly competitive a bunch of men's K1 races. There's some C1s that are going to be taking off just behind them and the women. This is all the 35 and older veterans and masters. Entertaining morning. We're at Lake Jels in the town of Jels in the municipality of Vejen as the first bunch gets off the line. Ivan, let's have a look at the lineup that we've got for this first bunch. It promises to be a mouth-watering showdown. There's some hot paddlers here.
There's some big names in this, not least of all on the near side of boat 721, Lawrence Panakook. You'd expect to see him in the senior race later on, as he's on the far side of the course in the green boat. To his right is the white boat, which is going to be maybe, don't really know. This side 70, I'm just trying to get the numbers. Far side.
White boat is 722.
722, Peter Trebian from Denmark. Panakook to his right. Motorboat, I'm sure, has pleased a few of the competitors on the right-hand side of the group. But yeah,
And there's a wedge being driven through this opening bunch as everybody tucking in behind Panakook. Wind luckily is holding off here at Lake Jels, so condition, and they are reforming now. 4 boats at the front.
Panakook just going around the back of that lead boat up his right-hand side. Nicely done. Yellow boat going to try and drop into the V if he can, but Panakook didn't make it up the side. Yellow's got to go all the way to the right of the black boat, and that's a fair journey from there. That's the Argentinian. So Alan Nielsen is the Argentinian on the outside in the yellow boat, and he's not making that journey. Panakook leads from Trebian. From a Belgian, that could be, no, I'm on the wrong age group there for that. It's not, just trying to get the full list going.
Just remember, this is 4 laps with 3 portages now, so we get an opportunity to have a first test run of the portage here at Lake Jels when they come in at the end of their second lap. Bunch of 4 chasing the lead bunch of 4 as they head up Lake Jels. Oh, and there's been a bumping, there's been a coming together in the middle of that chasing bunch. One of the boats has come off the back, and luckily no swimmers. But that chasing bunch has definitely been disrupted by a bit of contact between, I think, the 2 blue K1s. No serious casualties, luckily, but it's taken the wind out of the sails of the chasing bunch. And now suddenly there's a gap of 50 between the 4 leaders and the chasing bunch of 5.
Front 4 away and clear. Argentinian has got himself into the V, and he'll be getting his breath back after that chase up the right-hand side. It took him a lot longer than he would have hoped for. Group of 3 behind them now, just breaking away from the 2. The 1 blue boat there, who had his journey disrupted by a tap on the tail from one of his competitors. Off the back of that group, a single paddler on his own, always a hateful place to be, and there's no joy in that. We'll give you numbers as soon as we can.
So as they head up to the top turn, there's a wedge being driven between the front 4 and the remainder in the 35 plus. Meanwhile, down on the start line, it's the 55 to 59 age group men who are standing by to get underway. And another big field with some seriously talented paddlers in it.
This is one of the biggest fields of the weekend, I think. So names to watch out for in here. Oh, there's a whole list of names in here. Eric Verduct right in the middle, 75. I mean, he did more World Championships back to back from day one, from 88 onwards. He was the paddler who did the most consecutive World Championships before he retired from senior racing. He's in the middle in boat 75. Got a couple of good Germans out there as well. Spain we've already seen, pretty effective. From Australia, we've got Jonathan Crowe. He won the UK Nationals at this age group. Chased in by my good self. So that's a nervous-looking lineup.
Brett Greenwood and Lee Darren of Australia on the start line as well. And they're off.
Some left the start line more successfully than others.
Must be said, though, Ivan, this start system is certainly passed with flying colours on day one.
That's good. Australia pumping it out at the front there.
That's Brett Greenwood.
Luckily, the numbers don't tally
Laying
at all
down
with the
an
numbers
early
I've got
marker.
written down on my sheet, so that's it's gonna make it hard.
Greenwood streaking away. Right on his rudder is Johan Brekke of Norway. He's in the black boat with the red nose. And then behind them, a big bunch of paddlers are trying to form into chasing groups.
So Greenwood away at the front.
And they literally are spreading out across the width of Lake Jels as they head up to that top turn.
And they're coming together. The group's growing again. And that group's going to get quite big, I think, by the top turn. Far right there in the orange hat, Onno Bukovi from Great Britain. Actually Dutch paddler by birth, but he's living in England at the moment. And that's a fair old race going on there. Front group of 6 now. It's going to be hard. Maybe the white boat can get back to that, but it's going to be a long journey back. Middle of the course, I'm pretty sure the paddler in the middle of the course is supposed to go round to the right of the boys where that group of 6 is currently.
Yeah.
I think that's possibly a little bit of an illegal move, but hopefully no one's noticed.
Is there a
It could have got away with it. Who knows?
category for visually challenged? Or?
I don't think anyone's noticed that he's going to join the front of the race by just doing a shorter course. Now, why didn't anyone else think of that? Unbelievable. So they're going to love him when he joins in, especially if he takes someone off the side wash. He's going to be more than welcome to join in at the side of that group.
He's coming in like a Scud missile.
Yeah.
Watch this.
He's choosing the 45-degree approach method.
For maximum
Nothing
impact.
can stop him here. He's just going to pick off the first person in the black boat. Yep.
There we go. Just
Yep, we've really hacked him off, and still incoming.
if you're watching this on YouTube, let's put a speech bubble above that front group and put down in the comments
Brilliant.
what you think is being said to him right
Can-
now.
Any comments from that front group to the guy who's just joined in on the left will be choice at this moment.
Thank you for the comments. Really appreciate them. Eduardo, good to have you on board and seeing you chipping in your 5 cents.
Tactically astute, taking the shorter course there. And that's still a big field spread across the lake. main contenders down to about 8 boats probably at this stage.
In fact, right in front of us, Ivan, you'll see that the inflatable is actually looking after one of the paddlers. Let's see if we can get a number on him, because that's not the way you want to start your afternoon.
That is a little bit unlucky.
I'm not sure whether there was assistance with the swim there, but he's on his way and is getting an appreciative round of applause from the spectators sitting in the grandstands here.
70-something. 81's also just going by. That's Bjorn Jensen. So either he missed the start or he also swam maybe.
He's looking pretty leisurely, it must be said.
It's, some reliance on a big finish from him.
Keeping his matches dry, I like it.
And the C1s are off and away, all starting together, the C1s. And that's a pretty impressive lineup of C1s. That's, there's going to be more on that start than at the Elite Seniors later in the week, I think.
159.
Try and give you some name checks.
That's the Japanese paddler, Takayuyo Kojaki, who's set off in the yellow boat. Pretty impressive.
Japanese parents, Dave.
That was impressive.
It was.
No, that's
So 159.
virtue of good hours spent in the sushi bar, I think.
Japan looking super controlled. I would suspect we might see him later in the week as well. Going over to his side is 51.
No, 251.
Very hard to keep.
He's in the 50 to 54. That's the Spaniard Julian Serrano, who's gone and pulled it alongside the Japanese paddler. And they are certainly going to be dictating the pace as they head up to the top turn can in this combined seaboat race. And as we saw a little bit earlier, if you were watching the stream, the inevitability about racing the C1s and the K1s together is that there is going to be a merging and an overlap, and a couple of laps into this race, you're going to see the leading K1 bunches starting to come through the seaboats, and it gets spicy when it gets to the turn cans. The seaboats generally tend to be wide awake to that, though. When they go into those cans, they tend to look over their shoulders and make sure that they're out of the way of a fast-hunting K1 pack.
So front of the, oh, not anymore. I was just going to say Brett Greenwood's still leading. Front of that one, this is the front of the over 35s. Lawrence Panacook on the outside there, riding on the wave of the black boat. The Argentinian off the back in the yellow boat there. We'll give you a name check on the black boat as soon as we can.
And they've made this race their own. There is a chunk of water back to the chasing bunch.
And there's the over 55s. Brett Greenwood still leading, as he has from the start. A well-organised group of 8. It's going to get a bit tight on the left-hand side, I imagine, for the white boat there. But so far, everyone being well-behaved and very reasonable.
And I'm not putting the pox on them in any sort of way, but this is the sort of footage which is absolutely gold to the ITOs that have got the tough task of having to adjudicate on anything that lands up in a protest, because this really makes their job so easy. Great view of the K1s heading around the top turn can at the top end of Lake Jels. That's the furthest end from the site being occupied by the spectators and the start-finish area.
So Greenwood relinquishes the lead for the first time, I think. We'll give you name checks, but opposite us, we've got the 2 leaders in the over 35s. Panacook from Belgium, hanging onto the wash of our leader. I'll try and get a number for you. Looks to be 172, which is, oh no, no such number. 732.
721.
So Rui Magalhães of Portugal. So Magalhães leads from Panacook from the Argentinian Nilsson. And they're the three.
It's a two-horse race now as they come around to the completion of the first lap. In this
Megales from Canoe. One lap down. Canoe looking a bit flat out there. On the wash of Megales. I'm sorry. Alan Nielsen in third position on his own.
setting himself up for a long, lonely day because he's certainly got no prospect of bridging to that front bunch at this stage.
No chance at all, I don't think. Those two are going for it at the front. They're on their own and away. Panakook's taken over from Megales. They're sharing the lead up there.
Peter Trebien from Denmark filling fourth at this stage in the white K1.
He was first off the start line. He had the turn of speed, but fizzled out. Like a Roman candle in that respect. And the group's further back, looking pretty strong.
Jens Nissen being shifted onto the right wave.
Juan Abelanos from Great Britain.
Tim Keller going to the front in the blue boat.
So there's the two leaders going off into the distance. Just behind them, Alan Nielsen, and just behind him was Trebien from Denmark. Trebien has got a chase there, and it's a chase that looks worth having. The Argentinian looking a bit lonely and a bit lost in no man's land. Might do better to have company to hold off this chase group of three: Denmark, Germany, and Great Britain.
Just behind them, also in no man's land, Alvis Policello from Italy. Darius Noici from Poland, leading a bit of a chase with Mads Mikkelsen from Denmark. So immediately this race has thinned out into a whole bunch of sub-races.
It's quite interesting. The age title of these races does not tell you how good the race is going to be by any stretch. The assumption is that the younger the better, and that's not been true at all. You know, the quality race out here in terms of viewers and the excitement is the older of the two races, and it's over 35. I guess the over 35s is diluted by the fact that a lot of over 35s are still racing in the senior races.
On screen at the moment is Johann Roma from Germany alongside Denmark's Jakob Butler. Colin Simpkins joins us in the commentary booth, having recovered his breath. Came off the water sucking oxygen, which speaks a little bit about his conditioning, but he can speak to the level and intensity of racing that happened on the water during the morning session, and how some of those races actually produced a combination of some serious experience, a lot of accumulated new in the boat, coupled with the reality of you just can't go as fast when you get that old.
I was just going to talk about the race, but go for it, Colin.
Yeah, thanks for that, Dave. Yeah, the term the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak does spring to mind. Yes, thank you for that.
I'm sure we can find a replay of your end sprint, if we can call it that, because we saw you from sniffing at silver to picking up plastic.
Now, I did flap my arms around a little bit at the end there, but I left it a bit late. I think it's more a colored blindness thing than anything else, that I was aiming for the orange boys and suddenly realized the white boys were the finish. But be that as it may, it was a good race.
And a reuniting of mates that we've picked up over all the years. And I mean, you've crossed swords with them in different places and at different times. And I don't think you'd want it any other way.
No, it's great. I mean, look at the size of these veterans, the masters fields. I mean, it's fantastic that you've got guys that still these years later are enjoying their paddling to this extent and racing competitively, no matter how slow you go as you get older.
Well, talking about competitive Ireland, what's happening at the front there, Ivan?
Greenwood just turned a speed, just dropped the paddler in the yellow shirt, red hat. He's suffering now. You got a couple off the back of this group. It's a strong, strong group. You got the Australian Jonathan Crowe in there, Ricardo Otero, Zabia Osa, Johan Brecker in there. Greenwood leads. I haven't got his number on my page, but they're all in there.
So it's 105, then 69, then 65, then 85.
So the ceremony will begin shortly. Will you call all the medalists?
Have you got the script?
There's the script. So Greenwood leads into the second lap. Again, no portage on this lap. Klaus Geers from Germany just on the back of that group. So it's a 6-person front group. 82 really struggling now. That's Par Linden just falling back. And Eric Verduct just behind him. So everything to play for still. But it looks to be a group of 6 away. Over on the outside goes Jonathan Crowe. Greenwood, Crowe, Otero, Osa, Gears, and Brecker. That's your front group. Looking very well organised. This is a shot back round the bottom turn. There's 76 there, Freund from Germany. 64 is Smits from Netherlands. 77 is Poulsen from Denmark. Another Australian on the right is Lee Darren. Ono Bukovi in the orange hat just behind that group. The groups are gradually whittling down. Into the V goes Lee Darren behind the German.
Ivan, in about 5 or 10 minutes' time, we'll have the medal ceremony from the first bunch of the Masters races. So if you finished on the podium in any one of the races, the K1 men's, the K1 women's, and the C1 men during the morning session, the 9 a.m. start, please be on standby. The medal ceremony will start very shortly. Please make sure that you are properly attired. Please would all the medalists come down to the portage area right now so we can prepare you for the medal ceremony. Please be aware that you need to be compliant with your kit attire and present right now. So please would the medalists for all of the events from race 1 to race 10 present themselves in the portage area right now.
Good stream of paddlers going up to the top turn. You can see that front group now broken away from the 2 paddlers behind, which was Verduct and another Eric Verduct, and I can't remember who else. Apologies for that. But Masters forming some good quality groups. Some just beginning to fail in their chase. sticking to the task.
I'm going to read the results offline.
Yes. Okay. I really hope they're right. Yeah.
Oh, well, we didn't inform you of. We haven't managed to get a name check on the paddler who did the slightly erratic first lap and basically cut the corner off. So one of those people in the front group potentially shouldn't be there. We'll try and get you a name check on that as soon as we can. A bit of a lull now as the K1s go up to the top turn. You can see the wind across the lake now. It's beginning to get a bit blustery. Dark shadows coming across. These paddlers, I think, are supposed to go to the outside of the orange buoy to their right currently, which takes them outside the finish line as well. So the buoy that he's just missed there on the course, you should go outside. I'm sure no one will mind for this race on that particular occasion. But that buoy is placed there to make sure you come outside of the finish line as you take your return journey back to the top of the course. So it's Marcelo Vieju from Argentina goes up the course. Directly opposite us are the lead two in the C1 category, which is Japan and potentially Spain. And they're coming down. Just entered the turn now. We go down to that bottom turn. The yellow boat of Japan leads the C1. That's Takayuki Kukaji in yellow, and 251, not even in the same age category. Let's find out who that second person is.
Ivan's doing a fantastic job of running a rule over the races on the water at the moment as the C1 paddlers come down to the bottom turn. Just an appeal once again on course. The medalists for races 1 to race 10 this morning. The medal ceremony is about to get underway right now. Please could all the medalists present themselves to the white tent alongside the podium right now, please.
So 251, actually in a few age categories up. He's in the 50 to 54. That's Julian Serrano from Spain, hanging on to the tail of the Japanese paddler in the over 35 category from Japan. So Spain doing well. .287, next age category again. That's Pedro Ariel from Spain. And 182, Andre Petter from Czech, also going through. .183, Isai Takanaka from Japan.
Once again, just a quick venue reminder to the medalists in races 1 to race 10 to present yourselves in the white tent alongside the podium area. Make sure that you're properly kit attired. Medal ceremonies are about to get underway.
Panacook taking it to the Portuguese round the top. That's Magales just hanging on to Panacook. They're coming in for their first portage, and there's some intent in the body language here Megale's just hanging off the back, looking over his shoulder. That is never a good sign. You don't look over your shoulder when you're trying to go forwards. Panacook relatively slow out the boat, but he's up and running. Megale's fancying the shorter run, and he's quite quick out. And they track each other. They're running through the portage now. Panacook from Megale's. Panacook safely in. Megale's very tidy getting in, and they're both out together. No damage done. All that intent came to nothing in the end, but the two of them away and clear. And they've pulled some, it's got to be 750 meters on third and fourth place, which was the Dane and the Argentinian. That was Trebian and Nielsen.
Thanks once again for all the comments coming in on the YouTube feed. We really appreciate that. Sophie Riley going, go Gloucester, go. Lots of support for Brazil. Thank you, Aline. Appreciate that. Marek, thank you. Keep the comments coming. Rosa, thank you for the comments as well.
So there's your leaders in the over 35s. Portugal from Belgium, both super quality, and they are shifting along very tidily. A long way up on third and fourth who have just come into the portage. Here we go now. We've got Argentina in the yellow, Denmark in the white. Bizarrely, the Argentinian's called Nielsen, and the Dane's called Trebian. You'd think it might be the other way round, but it's not. It's Trebian from Denmark ahead of Nielsen of Argentina. Nice aerial shot of the portage. We'll get used to that through the week. Dane in and away. Same for the Argentinian. All safe, all secure. Those two will continue this journey together. Only one medal coming from those two boats, though.
Lesson to be learned from that portage put in, Ivan. And I know that a lot of paddlers have been spending time running these portages, but that beach put in is shallow. Overzealous, and you're going to land up putting that boat in too shallow, and you're going to land up with the rudder in the sand, which is what we saw in the Argentinian boat. It didn't cause any damages, but that is going to be the reality of that portage put in for this week.
Yeah, you've probably got about 3 meters. You can walk out and still be safe there, and it's there's no sudden drop off. It's a relatively safe beach, but the temptation to put your boat in early.
It's also tailor-made for a super fast put in. If you've got the run and the ability to put one foot into that boat while it's still moving, there is ground to be made.
He just put his boat on the rudder. The third of those 3, he's still not deep enough, and away they go. That's Great Britain, Denmark, and Germany. So Great Britain and Germany away and clear. I think it's friend of Germany. So it's Roma of Germany. My mistake. A crowd favourite, obviously, coming through the portage now. That's quite a busy grandstand.
It is a busy grandstand for Monday morning, day one
Yeah.
of, and some boat emptying to be done here at a very pedestrian. This looks like a race ender. That is a very disconsolate dumping of a K1.
That's someone exuding indifference at that point.
But
Oh, we
pressing
got
on.
ourselves a
And
swimmer.
it's all happening down here at the put-in, and more boat emptying. The Spaniard now suddenly reignited with interest in the race, takes off after the wave that he desperately needs to get up to the top turn can. But it's not, the put-in is not going according to plan. Somebody ruining, not spending more hours running the put-in practice.
It's painful to watch when that happens because you know it can happen to you and you know what that would feel like.
And the worst thing is there's admin. It looks like there's been some seat damage. The seat
Yeah.
has shifted. You can just imagine what is going through his mind right now. And to make it worse, the bunch is now going to come running past him.
Yeah. He's just going to fall back through the field while he sits. 7, 2, 3. Jakob Butler of Denmark.
And it's a lonely place, Ivan, when that happens. Every second feels like an hour because you're stewing up inside. You've got two options. You either have to deal with it, tough it up and try and fix the mechanical as best you can, or bail. And I think bail is not in the vocab of most of the athletes that have got this far.
Julian Romer of Germany was the last to leave that portage, and still there's boat maintenance going on. Front of the over 55s, and it's thinning down a little more perhaps. Now one of these boats could be 85, but I don't know, so I probably shouldn't say. One of them did that little short course at the beginning. But in they come, and it's 6 boats in.
3 left, 3 right. Early takeout paying dividends.
Running very well. Jonathan Crowe in trouble there. He was one of the early ones in. He's one of the last out.
Australia going into the seconding lane.
That's Greenwood through for a drink. Running like he means it.
That's a super efficient portage.
Greenwood in. A little bit shallow maybe. 69 with him. Javier Osa in the grey boat with the red tips. Jonathan Crowe there, boat 63, a little bit shallow getting in. He's the last of the 6 to leave, and that's a long catch-up for him now. On the far side, 72 is Lutz Eriksson of Denmark. Just coming into the portage with Ed Martin from Ireland. Up and running well. Eric Viduct getting in. He's done a few portages in his time. Ed Martin running long. Sat on his rudder a little bit there, I think. Just scraping off, and away he goes. He's got to get contact again. Through the portage now. Italy, number 99. Claudio Bazzini. 64, Hans Smit from Netherlands. It's getting crowded now at the portage. 106 is Lee Darren from Australia in the yellow boat. He's got in well. Ono from Great Britain there in the orange hat, the last to leave that portage. There's a nice group of 6 if he can catch them, but it's a long catch for him. Still people getting out at the front end of the portage. Guys still running well. About 80 there, Erik Jensen from Denmark. Klaus Rosenkrantz. 61 is Rasmussen, Ulf Rasmussen from Denmark.
This jetty here at Lake Gels forming a natural amphitheater that really does lend to the vibe being created in this portage zone here. Crowd really getting into it. It's a mixture of locals that have come out to watch the racing and team supporters. Some of the elites and the juniors are going to be racing later in the week who are lending their voices to the masters that are opening the medal counts for their respective nations.
'98 there. Stefan Eriksson from Sweden. Just behind him, 74. Peter Wahlberg from Sweden. And just getting in, this guy hit his rudder at the back end of the portage, 68. That's Jesper Nilsson. Cracked his rudder as he came off the landing stage at the other end there. And he's yet to see if that works, I guess, as he pulls out from the portage. There'll be relief for him if it does. Actually, maybe relief if it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'm assuming it's relief if it does work. Or
that's an attempted fast put in. Oh, he rescued that.
He saved that well. That is a good save.
Well caught.
From Peter Brogger from Denmark. That could have gone horribly wrong, but he saved it at the last minute.
Yeah, Ivan, year after year, we watch the elites doing those high-speed running put-ins at a beach put-in. It looks deceptively easy. It is not. It goes pear-shaped so easily.
Yeah, the portage has become such an integral part now. There's so many portages per kilometre that in the old days we didn't have. So the skill level on portage has gone up so far from the days when we used to race. You know, surviving the portage was the goal, but now actually the portage is a serious part of the race, and it's the skills have gone so high. It's impressive to watch, and actually makes you feel quite jealous that you can't do that and they can. And you think, right, I'd love to think that I could do it, but I know deep down that that's out of my skill set. We have got rudder problems from the guy who hit his rudder out in the distance there. We can't see him on screen, but I can see him zigzagging up the course. His day could well be over. If it's not over, it's going to be a lot longer than it was planned to be. So,
just how much training have you done to that bow rudder stroke? You might need it a lot in the next hour.
He's going to, yeah, he's in all sorts of trouble up the course there. Opposite us in commentary, we've got the two lead C1s coming in for their bottom turn and portage. We've got maybe a retirement coming through here. Is even a cup of coffee?
It's a gentle stroll through the seconding zone.
I think even his seconder just threw away the dregs of his coffee. He'd had a coffee on the early stages, couldn't finish it, but now he's coming through. Round the bottom turn go the two leaders in the C1.
There's a lot to be said for this, Ivan. This is one way to get full value for money out of your trip to Denmark. I mean, stretch it out for as long as you can.
He's doing a great job there. Nice, tidy get in. So coming into the portage, you can't see it on screen, are the two leaders in the C1. In the over 35 C1s, we've got Japan. And in the over 50s C1, we've got, I think it was the over 50s, we've got, maybe not, maybe it's the over 45s, we've got Spaniard.
So we're going to leave you with visuals of the racing on the water. We're going to take a couple of minutes to start the medal ceremonies for the races that took place at the earlier session this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, the medal ceremony for the men's K1 70 to 74 will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the medalists for the men's K1 70 to 74. The medals will be presented by Christian Jacobsen, the Danish Canoe Federation Secretary General. The bronze medalist from Great Britain, Gilbert Spears. The silver medal, Olaf Soyland from Norway. And the gold medal and the world champion from Great Britain, Brian Greenham. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the next medal ceremony. We don't do anthems for the Masters. The medal ceremony for the men's K1 65 to 69 will now begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the medalists for the men's K1 65 to 69. The medals will once again be presented by Christian Jacobsen, the Secretary General of the Danish Canoe Federation. The bronze medal from South Africa, Chris Visser. The silver medal from Norway, Einar Rasmussen. And the gold medal and world champion, Manuel Cravioto, Spain. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now move on to the medal ceremony for the men's K1 75 plus. Ladies and gentlemen, the medalists in the men's K1 75 plus, Presenting the medals is Christian Jacobsen, the Danish Canoe Federation Secretary General. The silver medal from Norway, Steinar Moch. The bronze medal from Sweden, Kariden Torbjörn.
What's going on over here? Somebody needs to tell me.
Please bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. We are rectifying the podium for this presentation.
K1, mænd 75 plus. Vi har en tysker på førstepladsen. Vi har en tysker på førstepladsen, en nordmand på andenpladsen og en svensker på tredjepladsen. Men jeg kan se, at nationaliteterne er forkert i forhold til den liste, vi har.
We need to be better at this, guys.
Ja. Jeg tror, det er den forkerte klasse, vi har forbrugt lige nu. I forhold til resultatet, vi har.
Is it Norway 1 and Sweden 2?
Yeah. No, yes, Sweden too. Yeah. So it's not. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what we have.
Yeah, exactly. No, the nationalities are also wrong.
We need to move on to the 80, I think, now. Just so we can do something. Can you just ask her if we can do that?
Kan vi gå videre til en anden? Kan vi tage dem nu så? Og så sende dem? Should be in charge for this. Are not here yet. So I was told how to do this yesterday.
Okay.
We're doing all right. Just got to get through this one.
Should we do some commentary out while we're playing time?
While we wait for the presentations to organise, we'll just see the front end of the 55s, still Greenwood at the front. Spaniards with him, as is German and the Australian still. Jonathan Crowe at the back there, just getting into his boat. A lot closer this time than he was on the last lap. So 2 from Australia, 2 from Spain, 1 from Germany.
I'm suggesting we do the 80 plus or whatever.
The women's are ready now.
Oh, the woman already 66. Okay.
So Greenwood not having it all his own way in that over 55s. Jonathan Crowe just round the back of the group, still trying to make contact. It's a tough journey for him. So Tero, Osa, Crowe, German, Klaus Geers, and Johan Brecker from Norway. Eric Verduck getting in there, just behind the German. And behind him, Sweden with Par Linden.
Ireland, Denmark, Sweden confirmed.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the medal ceremony for the K1 women 65 to 69. We present the medalists for the women's K1 65 to 69, the medals being presented by Christian Jacobsen, the Danish Canoe Federation Secretary General. The bronze medal, Breda Keating, Ireland. The silver medal to Annette Henkel, Denmark. And the gold medal and the world champion from Sweden, Eva Lindback. I would suggest we continue with the women there.
Yes, hope so, but Ulla, vi skal vide, hvad vi kommer til nu.
And confirm there's one woman here.
You have one woman.
70 to 70 for one woman from Australia.
Some of them didn't show up.
What does Ulla say? Otherwise, we're going to continue with commentary.
Yeah, you can continue with commentary.
So interspersed with the medal ceremonies, we're keeping an eye on what is happening on the water. Ivan, I'm seeing boats withdrawing across the course here. That green K1 is in a direction which spells ominous
retirement.
signs.
Yeah, looks like a Swedish competitor. Could be Australian with yellow shirt, could be Swede. It's hard to tell from here. It wasn't anyone who's in the front group. Front group of the over 55s still going strong. Up at there's 6 in there. I think it's still Crow, Otero, Osa, Gires, Brecker, and the Australian Greenwood. Opposite us, though, on the far side of the course, Lawrence Panacook, seemingly now on his own. He's dropped Magales of Portugal. So Panacook in the green boat, just about to head in for his third portage. I think it's his third portage. Wahlberg in the yellow shirt on screen now, going round, and just behind him is the leader in the over 35s. We'll see him in shot almost any second now. There is Panacook. He's winning the over 35s by a fair margin now.
Let's watch him come into the portage to see how well grooved this is. He's clearly done the hard yards to be able to get to this place in the race. He's heading up to the left-hand side of this jetty takeout.
Breathing heavy there.
Rides it long.
Out and running.
He can afford the luxury to take that extra half second.
There's a lot to be said for safety on a portage.
Question, Ivan, handles on a boat, no handles?
Oh, I'm so traditional on this. It just looks so ugly and so amateur.
But it works.
But it works, and you can't
works.
deny that it works. But I've never managed to put a set on my own boat at home because it just looks awful. You got all those beautiful boats, and they screw on a couple of door handles, and it's just a mess.
Until the day in a key race when that thing slips out of your hand while you're jogging down to the water.
That's it. Away goes Panacook, in and comfortably off. Overtook the Swede on the portage. At the same time, Moreno comes in at the front end of the portage. Here he is on screen now. So Portugal in second place, running well. Panacook paddling well. but not out of range still. Portugal, second place, as it stands in the over 35s. Very well in and away. So he's about 150 meters behind, maybe 200 behind Panacook. And that's closable. From France in boat 100, running over the portage now. That's Bernard Briand. Donald Gardner from Great Britain in, not quite away yet. Milis Lond from Estonia coming in for his portage. Taking it casual.
Safety first. Doesn't want to mess this up in front of the crowds.
Nicely out, but
he's herding that boat. I think that's the correct verb to use.
Corralling it into the portage.
Building up ahead of speed.
He's up and running.
There he goes. On the far side of the course, the seaboat race has become a fairly solitary affair. Good contest going on at the front, but the rest of the field is really spaced out along Lake Gels.
Leader in the C1, just putting his boat in now from Spain. Not one of the youngest competitors in that mixed C1 field. Japanese just behind him. Just not as quick on the land, and certainly not as quick getting in his boat as the Spaniard, who appears to be waiting for him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue with the medal ceremonies. We now have the medal ceremonies for the K1 Women 75 plus. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the medalists in the Women's K1 75 plus. Medals being presented by Christian Jacobsen, the Danish Canoe Federation Secretary General. In second place, the silver medal from Denmark, Esther Jensen. And the gold medal and the world champion, Denmark's Ruth Scales. Okay, what's next? They don't know. So we'll just carry on with commentary. I actually like this.
Yeah, that's...
So special moments on the podium for the women's 75 plus, and Ruth Scales walking away from the podium as world champion for 2023 in her age group.
Ja tak, jeg har en kanadier på tredjepladsen, Letland på andenpladsen og Tyskland på førstepladsen.
Canada, Latvia, Germany.
Canada tredjepladsen, Letland andenpladsen, Tyskland på førstepladsen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now continue with the medal ceremonies. This time, the C1 men 65 to 69 will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the medalists for the men's C1 65 to 69. The medals are being presented by Christian Jacobsen, the Danish Canoe Federation Secretary General. The bronze medal, Chris Hellier from Canada. The silver medal to Jevgenij Blazovic from Latvia. And the gold medal and world champion from Germany, Bruno Pieperbeck. So, podium is completed for the men's C1 65 to 69. Good day's racing for these gents, and that'll be a memorable photo that I'm sure is going to be on a fireplace mantelpiece and across social media in a couple of minutes. Racing continues on the water now, Ivan. We're midway through these key races as a bunch of 6 comes round the bottom turn can.
This is I think the third portage for these guys. Greenwood's come in first on all of them. Spaniard just tapping his paddle on the way in, not letting Greenwood have it all his own way. So first out, the old traditional leg up onto the pontoon. I'm not sure that's the best way. Greenwood up and running, just beaten to the portage by the Spaniards. Again, Jonathan Crowe struggling at the back of this group. He's struggled on every portage, but he's maintained contact every time, so he's clearly strong on the water.
Greenwood coming through the seconding once again, getting a load up of jellies by the looks of it. But he's run all of these portages particularly well, and he's been able to afford the luxury of heading through that seconding zone, not conceding an inch in that.
Klaus Gieris from Germany in the brownish boat there. And away they go. So it's still Crowe, Otero, Gieris, Brecker and Osa. Crowe left himself 50, 60 metres this time back to the front. And it's going to get harder each lap. He's on his own this time. We've got a bit of camera work going on. I don't know about anyone else. I'm feeling a bit queasy.
Yeah, strap yourself down. You might need a seatbelt for...
I feel a bit of motion sickness coming on. So it looks like 3 away in the over 55s. It's Greenwood and I think the 2 Spaniards.
And Ivan, if you take stock of the first half of this race, Greenwood has controlled virtually every moment of this race. And it's a head game thing as much as it is speed, getting in and out of portages and exercising the basic skills going around the course. He's psychologically looking well in control of this, and you would fancy that that's a very positive omen for Team Australia going into the second half of this race.
You would, but the second half is always more significant than the first half. Also, they'll be checking. You check for little things: who cuts who off, who's got the strength to overtake, bit of body language, bit of just physical degeneration. You can sense it in the other athletes, and yeah, if those Spaniards will have raced all year, they'll have been at Sella probably a few weeks ago. They're fit as you like, I'm sure, and yeah, they'll hunt him down. It won't be easy for him.
Here's a good point to raise. There's been a lot of serious racing immediately in the build-up to this year's World Championships. I mean, Sella was just around the corner. A lot of the athletes stayed in Spain and raced every weekend, sometimes a couple of times during the week in those races. I mean, we had some of our marathoners that were racing in Duisburg flat out. So there has been hardly a break in competitive weekend racing all the way in the lead up to it. So the whole idea of peaking and tapering is one which is an issue of debate.
So they're coming in. It's single file now, back here. Just getting in the water now. Is the Irish Ed.
Thanks for the comments coming in on the YouTube stream, by the way. A lot of excitement in the Latin American countries. The Argentinian fans are up and getting into a froth. Pamela, well done. Isaac was sharing your motion sickness on the camera movement just now, so maybe it's aggravated by taking a trip on the internet back to wherever this is being watched. Oh, put in without your paddles, and you have to scramble. Thank goodness you got some shallow sand to put your hands down on to go and rescue your paddle.
Good overhead shot. Australia. First in the yellow boat there. 99.64 is from the Netherlands, Hans Smit. 99 from Italy, Bazzini. They're all away and safe. From Great Britain, we've got Ono. Bokovi. Just off the back of that group now. So a little bit of downtime. I think we've only got one more portage for the over 35s. I'm
sure for the diligent marathon watcher at home, there's a little flip chart system which counts laps and portages. If anybody has got that going, well, I think we're willing to whip a hat around to fly you in right now and see if you can help us out here, because between the various races and the medal ceremonies, it's quite easy to lose track on exactly where the laps are. A couple of marathon venues that are pretty good when you've got isolated races of just running a board at the put-in, telling the athlete what lap they're on and how many laps to go.
And we'll have it on the screen graphics later in the week. Yeah. Lawrence Panacook coming into the portage on his own now, still ahead of the over 35s.
You can see him on the top right-hand side of the screen there, coming off the jetty onto the grass portion of the portage at Lake Gels. Absolutely under no pressure. He's done the hard work to be able to finish this on his terms.
Rui Magales with him for the first half of this race, but the second half has all been Panacook's way. Magales opposite us in commentary now, so that's a good minute and a half. Away goes Panacook.
I'm sure the Team Belgium delegation sitting around in the stands will be licking their lips at getting a gold medal into the team swag bag this early on in the tournament.
very few capsizes at the portage getting in.
That's the plus of the shallow
impressed by
beach
that,
put in, I
yeah.
think. But sometimes that shallow beach put in, when it's done at speed, and I'm thinking back to Hank McGregor and Jasper Mocker, Oklahoma City, when that was done at speed and it was rolled over and they took on board a heap of water,
Yeah.
which changed the outcome of that final short lap.
It's very easily done. So just Panacook heading up towards that top turn again. Still no sign of Megales. Just now, Megales gets in at the portage, while Panacook is some 300 meters plus ahead of him. But Megales still traveling well.
Well, as we saw in the Rasmussen race a little bit earlier, it's not over until we get down to that final turn. The gaps are huge, but it's
Panacook
certainly not a done deal.
Round that final short turn now. It's just 500 meters to go for him. Round the top turn, looking back down towards the finish line. So it's going to be Belgium first, Portugal second in the over 35s. So Panacook enters the finishing straight as some of the tail enders come round the bottom turn for their next portage.
Must be a very happy camper at this stage. I mean, this is one of those races that's gone 100% according to plan, and to come into the finish straight with the luxury of nobody on your tail and to be able to enjoy it and race it into your terms, good feeling.
Not sure I've ever had it. Don't think I've ever been on my own at that stage of a race ever, but I'm sure it is a good feeling. He looks like he's enjoying it at least. So, yeah, it must be quite comforting to be able to look across and see that your main competitor still hasn't gone round the turn. So Panacook heading for the finish, still travelling well.
So a gold medal heading for the Team Belgium trophy cabinet. And richly deserved. This has been I was trying to find a suitable adjective here. This has been an imperious performance from Panacook. Down to the line, and he's going to get a round of applause from the crowd because this has been a pretty dominant performance as Belgium takes gold.
Claimed it like a pro at the end there. The hand in the air, the universal gesture for have it. Portugal round the top turn now. 400 meters to go for him, maybe a bit less. He's also untroubled. I don't think third place has even come over the portage yet. And we've got the C1s coming in. Not the lead C1s, I don't think. Bit lost on that one. So across the line now. Oh, not yet. He's still a couple of 100 meters away. But on screen is Morales. Megales, sorry, not Morales. Megales from Portugal. So Rui Magales
As Panacook in the background, just
from Villa de Conde. Super job from him.
that wraps up the silver. Happy man.
So in the C1, just getting in from their final portage, I think. Spain and Japan. There's your second place silver medal in the 35 plus category.
Enjoying the variety of shots we're enjoying from the drones, from the cameras out on course. Thanks for your comments, Jorge. Isaac, you'll see that the crew that's in place is actually getting us camera shots from every corner of it, including the top of the course. Obviously, the priority when there's a variety of races is to keep an eye on the start-finish area and the portage area. That's going to dominate a fair percentage of the coverage. But as you can see right now, we've got the luxury, thanks to the large number of cameras and drones that are flying around this venue, of bringing you views of every corner of this course. Grateful for the team for pulling it all together. And grateful once again to the Danish Canoe Federation for making the streaming of the Masters and the para races midweek a priority. It's the first time that it's happened at this level, and I'm hoping that the Masters and the clubs that the Masters belong to all the way around the world have appreciated it.
So on the portage now, K1, we got the battle for the bronze medal between Alan Nilsson and Peter Trebien, as it has been all the way. Trebien was the faster from the start. He's away first from that portage. Trebien, so Nilsson, sorry, in all sorts of trouble. And Trebien gets away, heading for bronze at the moment. Our view is across to the big group at the front of the over 55s. Greenwood at the front. Spaniard to his left.
Simon Sabal of Poland in the red, white and black C1 leading this procession down, but he's about to be hunted down by the big group of K1s that are coming up on his outside, on his inside.
Still the German Klaus Guris in there. Looks like Jonathan Crow never made it back to that group, which is now down. I think it should be down to 5. So somebody in there may be in the other race. It's a bit confusing as they overtake the tail enders. But Greenwood leads. So 69, Osa. 65 is Otero, both from Spain. 85 is Johan Brecker from Norway. And just at the back of that picture is the German Klaus Guris. So 4 at the moment. Australia, Spain, Spain, and Norway.
So they come into the portage. Brett Greenwood dominating as he has throughout this entire race. Going down the right, stopping Woodway down the portage. It's a well-grooved portage routine from the Australian. And look at him. Takes off the minute he gets onto that jetty, and suddenly everybody else is under pressure. It's the way he's asserted himself. He's not opting to go through the seconding lane. But he's being shadowed hard.
So Norway and Australia first into the water. The 2 Spaniards just behind. Oh, only 1 Spaniard at the moment. No, there's the second. 2 Spaniards just behind. It's Norway first. Greenwood from Australia second. Then Osa, then Otero, then the German. Giri's just losing contact, I think, with the front three rather. So Otero and Giri's out of the running at the moment. Norway lead from Australia, from Spain. So Johan Brecker with the Australian Greenwood at the front of this race, just behind them, but that gap looks to be getting bigger back to the Spaniard, Osa. Then an even bigger gap back to Otero and Giri's. Crow at the back there in the yellow shirt on his own, but now he's got targets. There's something for him to pick off, but not much time left to do it. They finished.
Seven, 2-2, crossing the line and claiming the spoils.
So that's the Dane ahead of, so it was Trebien ahead of the Argentinian Nielsen, who never closed the gap after the portage. So Peter Trebien ahead of the Argentinian, 723 Butler from Denmark, ahead of Avellanas from Great Britain, ahead of Keller from Germany. So we look back up the course, if we can, to the leaders in the over 55s. So the over 35s gathering together in a nice cuddle there, but the over 55s yet to finish. Just look up the course, hopefully. If we can get a message to the cameraman. We've got the over 55s finishing strongly.
And it's Greenwood dominating as he has for most of this race. In fact, the entire race, he's been the dominant character. Drone shot gives you an idea that there he is.
Greenwood on the right, Brecker on the left. From Norway, it's Greenwood ahead of Brecker. Gaps are opening up. Brecker still holding on. There's still 100 metres to go. Brecker not able to make any progress. It's Greenwood all the way. Here comes Brecker now. It's going to get tighter.
Greenwood's got a response. Brecker's giving it one last throw of that hit. This is a great burn off the wave.
Oh, my word. We didn't see that coming. It's Norway from Australia. That was some effort at the end there, and Greenwood had nothing.
Where did that turbo come from? That's an incredible finish.
Amazing effort. And 69, Osa from Spain, ahead of the German Klaus Gieres, ahead of Ricardo Otero, also from Spain.
C1 is 182. Ondrej Peter from the Czech Republic finishing in the C1 race.
6th place in the K1, Jonathan Crowe Great race. Just caught out on the portage in a little bit today. A little bit of work to be done there. On the water, he was as good as anyone else.
45 to 49, German Oliver Trilling finishing the race. Poland Simon Sebal finishing in the bright red, white and black C1.
Oh, we got a capsize at the portage there. Fatigue setting in. Just one turn to go. One turn too many. There's the view up round that short lap and back.
Germany's Matthias Kremer finishing in his C1. Tomislav Juric from Croatia finishing just behind him as well. He's in the 35 to 39 year race. Men's 55 to 59, Marcelino Cacabelos
Big
from
finish
Spain.
on screen. Australia versus Belgium, I think. 82-75. Par Linden, sorry, it's Sweden, ahead of Eric Verduct. So Par Linden just overtakes the Belgian on the line. Looks like we've got some apologies to do to a few people. It is, of course, Darren Lee, not Lee Darren. That's a schoolboy error on my part, for which I'm sure I won't ever be forgiven, but it's busy here. 72, Lutz Eriksson of Denmark, across the line. Roberto Palacios of Argentina in the C1.
Roberto racing in the 40 to 44 group. 2 more strokes and that's him home.
So single file lane coming in. Got a finisher across the line now. Is 66 Ed Martin of Ireland, but on screen we've got 99. Claudio Bazzini. He's got about 100 meters to go. He's being chased down by an Australian. It is, in fact, Darren Lee, who we've named correctly for the first time in the entire race.
Well, let's give him his value for money now. So.
We made it before the end, and that's what counts. To be fair, if he can't keep his number in his boat to help us out, he hasn't got any right to complain. So
Darren
Lee across the finish line, just ahead of Michael Freund from Germany. Ahead of Hans Schmidt from the Netherlands. 7:31. Dariusz Nowicki from Poland, next across the line from the over 35s. 92. And he's followed by Ono Bakovi from Great Britain.
Blue boat 723.
Jakob Butler from Denmark across the line now, and then
288.
a C1 of Enrique Miguez from Spain in the 55 to 59 category. The field thinning out slightly now.
77. White canoe.
Steen Poulsen next across the line from Denmark. Over 55s. Thomas Schnatt from Germany. He'll be next across the line.
Top right of your screen if you're watching on the live stream.
50 to 54 category in the C1s. Looking good. Quick change of direction. You can't see that on screen. He's just going to miss the finish, boys, but he got them out. Heading straight between the two. And he's going to be followed in the blue boat by Thomas Zastira, Mr. Zastira himself. Behind Thomas Zastira, Eric Jensen from Denmark.
76.
And behind him, might not be 76, sorry.
78.
78, sorry. It's Klaus Rosenkrantz from Denmark.
Yellow cap is 89.
Miroslav Lipovac from Croatia. Uffe Rasmussen in the white boat, but just in front of him we've got 729 Julian Roma from Germany in the over 35s.
Julian came into that final paddle into the finish at quite a sharp angle, almost if he'd come in from the opposite side.
Stealth bombing us at the last minute, trying to fool the commentary team. We saw him.
87.
Klaus Thompson coming in. Across the line now. Don't know.
Vedran Brozic from Croatia, wrapping up his C1 paddle. Latvia, I think it's 289.
Rolandas Samuelis from Lithuania coming across the line. But we're seeing 102, which is Dominic Scarf from Australia. He's about 50 meters behind the C1, and he's going to be next. With a fair gap behind him. Nice safe margin for him. Good job. A couple of dark clouds coming over, but for now the sun's shining. We've just got a few competitors left on course.
Probably about 5 boats still out on the water as we tidy up the second session on day 1 of our Marathon Worlds here in Denmark, Jutland. As we were given a heads up by the locals, there's every prospect of an afternoon storm as weather ticks itself over into autumn time here in Denmark. Aerial view you see of the finish area. It's devoid of spectators now, with the majority of the field having been accounted for. They finished their races. Solitary paddler coming into the put-in of what's almost certainly going to be last short lap. Miles Lont paddling away confidently from the put-in. Absolutely no one around him, absolutely no pressure. He can actually take stock of what has happened during the day and enjoy what is going on. Anders Krintel in his C1. Equally not under any pressure. Taking all his time to adjust the knee pad in his C1. Uses the contact with the sand to make sure the boat's pointing in the right direction, and off he goes for what is most likely going to be his last lap. Peter Wahlberg of Sweden stroking his way down to the finish line to wrap up his race in the men's 55 to 59. And as Peter turns for his warm down lap and to head back to the team area, pan to the right, and you'll see there are still a couple of boats out in the water. Those 2 boats that you've just seen in shot are heading down for what is going to be their last full lap. So they'll come into the portage. Peter Brogger of Denmark. Down to the line. Well done, Peter. Beep in the background. The sound of the timekeepers accounting for and processing his finishing time. Nice wide shot you can see on your live stream picture there of what are pretty ominous looking clouds building in the afternoon. Program this afternoon continues at 1:30 with the K1 men's race. I beg your pardon. K1 men 45 to 49. And then a full program which includes a start at 4 o'clock local time of the 40 to 44 men's K1. I'm sure they'll be keeping a keen eye on what those clouds are doing and hoping that during the lunch break those clouds move off to elsewhere. Callum Urquhart from Team GB finishing up in the blue boat. Donald Gardner, Team GB teammate, tapping home just behind him. Thanks for those comments that you've been posting on the YouTube feed. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the support for your clubmates, your teammates, your countrymates as they're taking part here. Red Anchor 12. Good chirp, dudes. That might just stick, so you may well hear that on the stream for the remainder of this week. Lola Ivan. Feel free to get those comments coming, or if there's anything you'd like to raise. Rory Carty saw your comment from a little bit earlier. Pennington on the KZN South Coast. Glued to the screens on day one of our Marathon Worlds here in Jutland, Denmark. Masters racing dominating day one and day two. There's going to be a day of para racing, which we're really excited to bring to you. That's also going to be part of the live stream. Milis Lont from Estonia finishing at the moment. Claiming it like a champion. Yeah, well done. Like every bit of that. That's it. So one or two paddlers still out on course. We'll bring them home like the champs they are. And bring down the curtain on the Monday morning session. A little bit of history being made here as we live stream Masters Day 1 from the Marathon Worlds. Over the years, there's been a consistent demand for the Masters K1 and K2 and C1 and C2 racing to be included in the live stream. That's obviously had logistical and lots of other challenges, not the least of which being cost. Glad to say that from the outset, the organisers here at the Danish Canoe Federation have made this a priority and pulled it off to the point that we are now soaking up Masters as part of the live stream. Two, 5, 3 crossing the line. Anders Krintel, another one of the host countrymen who have really gone the extra mile to make sure that this event here in Denmark is not only an extremely efficient and memorable and fair one, but has also been an opportunity for the Danes to show their hospitality, and hospitable they have most certainly been. The opening ceremony proper, which is going to straddle the end of the Masters Cup racing and precede the start of the senior, junior, and under-23 racing, is going to be pretty special. It's going to be at a venue just alongside where we are at the moment, and is going to include a Viking show. Pretty sure everybody's going to have their phone cameras and video cameras out to pick up some of the Viking action, which is going to be part of the unique stamp that this year's event is certainly passing on as an indelible mark of the trip to Jutland and the Vision municipality. Three boats heading down the finish straight you can see in the distance, and as you can see from the ripples on the water, the wind is gradually picking up here at Lake Gels. It's going to be a short break before we get the next group of paddlers onto the water. for most paddler, that equates to the lunch break and a chance to go and enjoy some of the local hospitality. Street food, part of the sideshow attraction here, to make sure that those visiting this region get a sample of what this region is all about. Hungry paddler coming off the water will certainly have an opportunity to browse through street food as a top priority, I can tell you that much. Matthew Price of Team USA. Good things going on in the marathon paddling scene in the States. So, Matthew, good to have you here in racing. Hope you enjoyed that. Jensen Fleming finishing up in the white boat. Just on his outside, Rubens Pompeo. Trademark ripples across the top of the lake. Drone shot giving us a good view of that. Signs of this wind picking up. Is this going to make for a spicy afternoon session? There's a bunch of paddlers who had early lunch and are busy getting their gear ready to take to the water to start their warm-ups for the 1:30 session start, who are looking at this wind, and you can see it buffeting the tents around here at the finish venue at Lake Charles. This might be a spicy afternoon. Denmark had their national champs last weekend, and wind came roaring into town for that one. And for a lot of the races, the outcome and the finish sheet was largely determined by paddlers that were able to stay in their boat in the substantial side chop that was a factor of that race. Spits of rain coming in as we speak, so there is weather moving into Lake Charles at the moment. And with that, there's a sense of drama as we get set for the third session, the afternoon session. Our officials are coming in, and that's a sign that everybody is officially off course. It's a good opportunity for us to bring down the curtain on the morning session. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to catching up with you in about 35 minutes as we get the boats underway for session 3. So thanks for all the comments. Thank you for your eyeballs on this. Thank you for your enthusiasm for Masters Racing, and thank you for enjoying this first ever live streaming of the Masters from the Marathon Worlds. We'll catch you at 1:30.